Hello everyone, my name is Sander Berghmans and in this video we will discuss the ethics of the business succession planner. So as you probably have understood from the previous videos, a business succession planner does not just mediate. They engineer a multi-dimensional transition in which they guarantee both procedural fairness and substantive fairness. So both the procedure happens in a correct manner, but also the outcome should be fair for all parties involved. Now, while the business succession planner has to address and point out ethical issues he or she sees within the family firm, a business succession planner also has to have certain ethical standards. And I identified three very important values that are crucial for each business succession planner. A first one is integrity, a second one, impartiality, and a third one, confidentiality. So the first value is integrity. And integrity is obviously very, very, very important for a business succession planner. It means that you act honestly and consistently, even when you are under pressure from, for example, dominant family members or your own personal financial gain. So, integrity is a value that should be upheld at all times, but it is particularly at risk in three situations that every business succession planner will probably encounter in his or her career. First, your integrity may be challenged in cases of conflicts of interest. For example, when you have the opportunity to hire your own brother, sister, um, another family member, a friend, or an acquaintance as an advisor. Second, integrity can be tested when you have to communicate a difficult truth. In such situations, you may be tempted to take the easier route and tell the client what they want to hear rather than what they need to know. And third, it can be difficult to acknowledge your own professional limitations and uncertainties. In some cultures or in some environments, this may be perceived as a weakness or a fear. And yeah, it could be that you fear that doing so would result in a loss of revenue. So try to be, in this case, as honest as possible. So therefore, be especially vigilant in these situations and strive, not only in these situations, but in every situation, to be as honest and transparent as possible. Now, a second value that is very important is the one of impartiality. So this means that within a firm, you obviously have the founder's or owner's wishes, and he or she probably pays you or has hired you. But this doesn't mean that you have to give in to any of the founder's wishes. There are, yeah, other stakeholders within the firm that deserve respect and even should have a say in things. And to try to be as impartial as possible, a planner must base his or her recommendations on evidence, merit, and long-term sustainability, even if these conflict with the founder's wishes. So this is very important. And as a general rule of thumb, you could say you have to act in the best interest of the firm, not in the best interest of the founder. So third very important value is the one of confidentiality. And with confidentiality, um, we mean that you try to protect sensitive data. As a business succession planner, you will get or receive a lot of information about the financials, about personal evaluations, about family conflicts, and you have to treat this information in a confidential manner. This, however, does not mean that confidentiality is a synonym for secrecy, because you have to give some information to other stakeholders in what I would like to call planned or controlled transparency, right? So, for example, in the case of uh, um, disclosing who is going to be the next successor, you cannot keep this an eternal secret or only disclose this like the week before the succession is going to take place. No, you have to do this in a timely manner so other stakeholders, in this case, for example, other family members or employees, um, yeah, are not becoming, are not unsure about what is going to happen within the future, because not disclosing this can create quite a lot of unrest within the firm. So upholding these values in your job as a business succession planner is one thing, but also being aware of your weaknesses or your blind spots as a business succession planner is also extremely important to ensure you are an ethical um, business succession planner. And one of these blind spots is overconfidence. So you may have a lot of experience. You may have the feeling you know way more about business or about the process of succession than the company owner or the family. So this may create a feeling or a situation of overconfidence. And this is, as you can understand, a big danger when being a BSP. A second blind spot that may cause uh, unethical behavior, even if it's unwillingly, is an unconscious bias. So this means that, I mean, in life, all of us have personal loyalties. There are people we have long-standing relationships with, and this is normal. We tend to favor them, we tend to believe these people. But in a business succession context, this can be very dangerous, because it could be that your blueprint for the business succession is organized in a way that it addresses the wishes of those people you have such a long-standing loyalty with. So it is very important to constantly reflect about the biases you may have. Another problem a lot of BSPs encounter is the structural danger of smoothing over. So this means that there's always this temptation to avoid confrontation or difficult talks um, by making unethical concessions. And in this way, you can buy obviously short-term peace, but in the end, you just delay the problem, and it can be even at the cost of the long-term survival of the firm. So please don't do this. An ethical business succession planner is, however, not morally responsible for a client's unethical actions. So you don't have to take all the burden on you. Nevertheless, you have a professional duty to attempt correction or to intervene when you see an ethical problem happening. And this can be done in multiple steps. So first, you identify the problem. So you you see something happening or you hear something from an employee, and then you try to yeah, uncover the cause of this problem. You gather some more information, and then you are going to confront the owner or the family with this problem. If they accept the fact that there is an ethical problem, you can try to come up, yeah, with a solution and with ways to avoid this problem in the future. For example, a 4I principle, um, where, yeah, each and every decision is independently reviewed by somebody else. Now, if a family or an owner does not accept that there is an ethical problem, you can try to escalate this and seek intervention from independent board members or external specialists. So, however, I would like to stress that this is the case only, this escalation pathway, when you see something that is unethical, but it's not a breach of the law. Obviously, if you see a breach of the law, you have to go to the authorities. But as explained in an earlier video, not every unethical action is a breach of the law. Now, it could be that even after an intervention, the owner or the family continues to say, yeah, there's nothing unethical happening in our firm. Now, what should you do then? And this is a very important question. Well, I would say leave, because it could be that there's a point where continued advisory services are no longer a neutral act. In fact, they become a tacit approval of unethical behavior. So if you continue to work for them, you're not, you say, yeah, what you're doing is not okay, but it's not that wrong that I want to keep on working for you. So staying is somehow an approval. And you should especially be worried when unethical actions um, yeah, are repeated. And when there are repeated violations despite corrective advice, when there is a persistent refusal to accept responsibility, and when there's a severe risk of your own integrity and reputation. So in these cases, when an ethical problem um, takes this shape, you should say, okay, this is too much for me. I do not accept this. I will end our contract. And why should you do this? Obviously, um, ending your relationship with this firm hopefully provides the shock necessary to force reflection within the firm. So we have arrived at the end of this presentation. I would like to thank you um, for your attention, and I would like to end this presentation with a last message that really stresses the importance of ethics within the business succession planning. Because business succession is not about transferring wealth or power, or not only about transferring wealth or power, but it's about transferring legitimacy. And transferring legitimacy can only be done if the succession takes place in an ethical manner. And in this way, we ensure that, yeah, the next chapter of the firm is built on a foundation that is designed to last. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you're interested in this topic, please have a look at the other videos in this course.